going to Top Gun.
We're going to teach you to fly the F-14 right to the edge of the envelope, faster than you've ever flown before. Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
I don't like you because you're dangerous.
That's right.
Nice. Man, I am dangerous.
It's a little bit too aggressive.
Yeah, I guess when I see something, I go right after it.
I feel the need for speed.
This is where you're going to see it. Not on HBO, not on Cinemax. Top Gun, premiering Saturday, November 21st at 8/7 Central, exclusively on Showtime.
You know, on every level, you know, for what I have. And it's a point of where you think, you know, here I am, this, you know, young actor, and you look at people who aren't working, and, you know, artists who have, you know, worked for 10 years before they got their break. And at first, you know, everything's happening and you feel a little guilty, you know, about, you know, you're kind of looking around and, you know, and then it's like, then you go through the stage of trying to justify, you know, well, you know, I deserve it, you know, of course. But then it's all relative, you know, and it's a point of where you just got to let go of all that and just relax and say, you know, it's happening, you know, just enjoy it for God's sake.
The Mink's in perfect firing position. He's right on Cougar's tail.
Let's see if we can have a little fun with him.
Is this your idea of fun, man?
In November, this is the place you're going to see it. Not on HBO, not on Cinemax. Top Gun, exclusively on Showtime.
Roger, engage!
Sure, they get all the glory. Tom Cruise and his Top Gun flyboys look great and shoot straight, knocking enemy MiGs out of the sky. And in the process, chalking up the highest-grossing film of 1986. But beyond the bottom line of Top Gun, there are some hidden heroes. Pete Pettigrew survived 385 combat missions as a Navy fighter pilot in Vietnam. Now he's an airline pilot, here undergoing a simulated inspection flight.
Stabilize their motion. Stabilize their motion.
You could say Pettigrew's got the right stuff, right enough to land him a job as technical advisor on the movie Top Gun.
And so I actually took part in determining what kind of a story we were going to tell, how we were going to tell it, what kind of an accident we were going to have, what kind of events were going to take place.
Top Gun is the nickname for a real naval facility, the super elite fighter weapons school at San Diego's Miramar Air Station. Pete Pettigrew once taught aerial dogfighting tactics here.
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
But filmmaking tactics are a whole other story, as Pettigrew found out when he got a call from a Top Gun screenwriter asking about the airbase locker room.
And he said, well, do they take showers? I said, no, nobody takes any showers. And he said, well, I mean, do they sit around in towels? Do they talk? What's it like? And I said, well, why do you want to know? And he said, well, because we have to have a locker room scene. I said, what do you mean a locker room scene? He said, well, you've got to understand, this is a movie about excellence. And besides, we paid a lot of money for Tom Cruise, so we want to show some flesh. So the only way we can do all these things is to have a locker room scene.
Eventually, the perfect Top Gun locker room, with showers, was discovered elsewhere in San Diego.
And I said, well, I have absolutely no control over what's going on. Now I'm just hoping that they won't turn it into a musical.
You lost that love and fear, and now it's gone, gone, gone. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Well, Top Gun does have its musical moment when Tom Cruise serenades Kelly McGillis. Ironically, Pete Pettigrew got a very brief part in this scene, and so did another technical advisor on the movie, John Semken. A real-life Top Gun fighter pilot, Semken was serving as the base's public affairs officer when he was assigned to work on the movie. Now he's a civilian, but he can't forget the glory days.
Or, you know, I used to bring up, yeah, I was a Top Gun guy, yeah, you know, and it helped with the women and everything. But now I try not to bring it up because my friends give me such a hard time that that's all I talk about.
As film advisors, Semken and Pettigrew tried to inject reality in a storyline that's mostly popcorn fantasy, especially when hotshot Maverick gets up close and personal with an enemy pilot.
Watch the birdie!
But this scene does remind Semkin of some of his own Cold War encounters.
Well, I mean, I've flown up alongside a Russian airplane. I've talked to a Russian, you know, they're, "Comrade, how are you doing today?" And they, "Where's your ship?" And we say, "Well, I don't know where the ship is. We're following you." But every Navy pilot probably has been alongside a Russian airplane, or an Iranian airplane, or a Libyan airplane. But we would never, ever antagonize.
Here comes a shot.
Making a movie like Top Gun is a battle in itself, an expensive battle, as John Semkin learned when he worked alongside director Tony Scott. Scott was on an aircraft carrier trying to capture a crucial scene at dusk.
So we spent hours setting up the shot and getting everything lined up, and the sun was exactly where he wanted. We get to the point where he says, "Okay, rolling," and the cameras are rolling. There, all of a sudden, you hear this great big and then the ship starts to turn, but Tony can't see it. All he can see is the sun moving out from behind his airplane. He's going, "Me light, I have me light." So I go back to Tony and I said, "Tony, if you want it, you got to pay for it." He says, "How much does it cost?" I said, $1,200 a minute. He says, "No problem, I only need 3 or 4 minutes." I said, "Tony, it takes 6 minutes to turn the ship, 5 minutes to shoot the scene, and 6 minutes to turn the ship back. That's 20 grand. He says, "I'll pay for it." So I went back and told the captain, and they turned the ship, and Tony looked at me after everything was over. He says, "I'm not really going to have to pay for that, am I?" I said, "We'll see."
Director Scott never had to pay, but the completion of the film did exact a high human cost, and it did reveal another real-life hero. Art Scholl was a famous stunt pilot with over 200 film and TV credits. He was shooting Top Gun footage from his biplane camera, ironically, footage that was set to be used in the movie's one fatal accident scene.
I'm losing control. I can't control it. The motor comes. Come on up, man. Pull up. 6, we're at 6, man.
Something went wrong. It was not, he'd done it 1,000 times before. It was not considered a dangerous maneuver. But he was in an inverted flat spin, and the airplane never came out. The airplane went all the way into the water in an inverted flat spin. And the film and Art Scholl are, you know, at the bottom of the Pacific Ocean.
The final credit of Top Gun dedicates the movie to Art Scholl. But really, the movie is a tribute to all pilots who cherish both their love and their fear of flying. Top Gun, premiering November 21st, only on Showtime.